And yes, finally we are here. Birthday. Let's know where you're streaming in from. Let's know where you're joining us from. Celebrating me today. It's my birthday and I'm glad to have you here. Are you happy to also join me to celebrate today? Please tell me where you are joining from today. Where are you streaming from? Share with me. I'm streaming from Ogun in Nigeria. And yes, it's the 12th November 2020. It's my birthday. So glad to be alive. I'm glad to be alive. I know you're also glad to celebrate with me. And I've thought of it, how do I celebrate this birthday? And I thought of it to say, okay, let me give back to my society. What is it that has helped me? What am I learning? What are those things that can also help others around me so they can also get blessed? We have this session today. So if you're joining me today, you are welcome. Me here, subscribe to this channel, Feishayo Oluwafemi Married Grace Academy. I'd like you to please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that whenever we upload or we come live this way, you can also easily access our videos. Yes, you're welcome up on board. Today we're talking about something very crucial. I won't be sharing slide. I just want you to see my beautiful face, how it is that me and how it is that lines are falling onto me in pleasant places. All right. Talking about a very crucial topic at that, and you know that whatever topic we bring in here is always going to be interesting, and it's going to be that topic that you can relate with. Yes. So we're talking about this topic tagged secrets. Secrets for effective discipline of your child. The secrets for effective discipline of your child. Hmm. The subject matter is dicey, right? But it's quite easy if you are skillful. Many times parents are not skillful, and this is why it looks as though things are not happening the way they expect it to happen. And before we go ahead, if you are hearing me, I'd like you to say, yes, I can hear you, I can hear you, I can hear you, I can hear you. Let me know that you can hear me so I know that, yes, I'm not speaking to myself. Are you hearing me? Confirm you can hear me and that you can see me. If you're happy and you know it, I clap my hands. I am happy and I know it. I really want to show that I'm happy and I know it. Clap my hands. Confirm that you can see me and you can hear me. Yeah, yeah. It's my birthday. You know, many times people celebrate birthday in one way or the other that, well, they feel they should. But I've decided to give back to my community because God has been so good to me. The Lord is so good to me. Ah, Olúwa dára sí mi. The Lord is so good to me. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all he has done for me, my very soul shall shout hallelujah. Praise God for saving me. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all he has done in my life, my very soul shall shout hallelujah. Praise God for saving me. I'm grateful for life. And I know you are also grateful. And the essence for living is for us to make impact in your various sections and wherever you are, ensure that you are making impact. So today, we're going to be talking about this subject matter, secrets to effectively discipline your child. And when you talk about this subject matter, a lot of people have understanding of discipline in different dimensions. People see discipline and say a whole lot of things. And I'm going to tell you my own story of discipline, how it is that I also discipline in a particular way before I then later gained knowledge. You can't do parenting without the adequate knowledge. You can't do parenting without the adequate wisdom and the skills that is required to do so. All right. So it's highly important that you begin to be skillful to learn what parenting is. And so today, we want to talk about this topic, secrets to effectively discipline your child. Welcome, Ololade Oyelade. Thank you for joining me today and for celebrating with me. I am very grateful. Can you help us tell others to join us? Let's share the link. Let's share the link. Let's encourage others to join so that it can be a time to also enjoy and learn together. All right. Now, there are many things that people think discipline is. Unfortunately, that is not what discipline is. And especially in Africa, somebody will say, I don't take nonsense. I don't take shit. Welcome. You're streaming in from Ibadan, Nigeria. Welcome. Thank you. I'm so glad you are here with me this afternoon. And growing up, my father really did not beat as such. My mother was not also the beating type, but my father can yell. My father yells. And I think the very first time I know, the one time I know it still sticks into my head of when he beats me, I have never forgotten because I just felt like, why would he beat me for that thing he just beat me for? It doesn't really worth it. I mean, I just finished my secondary school and a brother from the church came visiting to congratulate me, to say, oh, thank God now and the next phase is this and that. And then he just came and he greeted, and I was glad he was there with my parents. Everybody were there in the living room, gisting together, and then he was leaving. It was a good evening, and then I escorted him out. Came back, and they raised up your hand, and then he started beating me. And in my head, I'm like, what happened? What did I do? What warranted him to be beating me? And so I learned my lesson in a very hard way because to him, introduce him to me, to them, if they didn't even know who he was. I'm like, this is a brother in the church. You mean you don't know this brother? He's one of the choir members, the one that plays keyboard and all of that. They said they didn't know him. And they felt I just wanted to start living a life that, is questionable from there. And because I've now finished my secondary school and all, in fact, I was really, really not glad for that act. And since that day, I learned a lesson that you don't assume things for people. I assume they know him, and I felt, what's the need to introduce? They will feel they were actually disciplining me, and you trust good mothers, they will also follow their husbands, wherever the father says they should go, that's where they will also go. And I thought I knew how to also discipline my children effectively. I got married, and to my amazement, I started beating my children. I don't even need cane to beat. I don't need cane to beat. It's very easy for me to beat. I will beat you in my hand and you will know that somebody beat you. It's even more painful than you using the cane. Until I started realizing that beating a child really is crazy. Today you say I love you, tomorrow you beat the child. The child is then thinking, I'm confused, I don't get it. How will you beat me and you claim that you also love me? And our African parents will say, yes, if you don't beat a child, that child will spoil. And people will quote scriptures for you and say, spoil the rod, spare the rod, spoil the child. Unfortunately, we fail to know that that rod is not physical rod. Okay, so if we're even to follow that scripture verbatim, it means that we're going to bring a big rod. We're glad to have you. If you're just joining us here, please subscribe on the YouTube channel if you are yet to do so, and you can also share the link for others to join. We are glad to have you. Let's know where you are streaming in from. And back to the story of we feel until you beat the child before the child have common sense. on knowing that the child's emotion becomes what? Battered. The child becomes wounded. The child eventually feels like, this my parents that say they love me. I don't understand. I can't even trust. If that my daddy can beat me this much, I don't think I can trust parents. And the child will grow up with that trauma. And you see, there's nothing that happens to the child, even while they are young, that they will ever forget. No, they will recall every damn thing. And so people say, spare the rod, and as the scripture says, spare the rod, spoil the child. That is, if you spare the rod without using the rod on the child is going to rotten. But the rod here is the rod of discipline. It is not the rod to beat your child. We're getting there, right? Is it getting hot? Heated conversation here. Very important. Many of us do not even understand what discipline is. Do you know that discipline in itself is, let me not go after, ahead of myself. Let me go back to that story I was sharing. So I will beat my child. I'll feel sorry for beating my child. And the child will see me and be afraid every time. And I felt like something is wrong. To the extent that beating the child now, especially my first child, once you beat the child, she also will hold you and then will also be retaliating. Before I knew it, my child was also eating people. Because children learn by what you do to them. They are great imitators. You don't need to teach them and say this is what to do. Once they see you take the lead, they will follow. So whether it is good or bad, it's not an issue. So in fact, I want to say that siblings rivalry, when children begin to beat themselves and all of that, is because they've learned it from parents. Parents eat the first child, and then the first child will eat the sibling. The other sibling will eat the other sibling. Before you know, it becomes a chaotic issue. All right. So what then is discipline, you want to ask me? Discipline actually is from the Latin word that is called discipulos. Discipulos. If somebody wants to write it in the chat box, discipline is from the Latin word which means discipulos or disciplina, and it means knowledge. Discipline means knowledge. It means learning or instruction. So tell me, how does caning a child is equivalent to knowledge or to learning or to instruction? Please tell me. To the even all children are handlers, as teachers, as child caregivers, school owners, they need this knowledge. And if you are here to share this link with them, please share it with them. Let them understand. I mean, I was with with the parents of my children when we went for the PTA meeting. I mean, with the teachers of my parents. I mean, my students, I meant to say. We were having conversation of how some students will be beaten and the child then becomes unruly and all of that. In their mind, they feel they are doing the needful. But I rose up and I told them, I said, well, if you don't know a better system of disciplining a child, I would advise you to stick to what you know. But caning a child is the lowest knowledge for you to beat a child. I mean, for you to claim that you are disciplining that child. Take a clue. There are some children that when you beat them, one thing that happens to them is that once you now want to teach them, say, hey, now is the name of any person, they can't hear you again. Once they even see the sight of Cain, they already fidget. Hey, I don't know what auntie will say today. I don't know what uncle will say today. Because the Cain has instilled fear into them. Don't forget, we have said that discipline, you can also check it yourself. Discipline means knowledge, learning, or instruction. So any tool you want to use to deploy in disciplining your child you must ensure that it leads to do what? To make your child learn, to make your child be exposed to knowledge and to be instructed. So if Cain will not do it, please do not. Except Cain will do what? We instill the knowledge that they need to them. It will make them learn and to make them be instructed. Another meaning for discipline is discipline means to teach. To teach. How are you teaching with Cain in your hands? As a parent or as a teacher or as a child caregiver, how are you instilling teaching into the child as you are holding the cane and using the cane, deploying the cane on the child? Right? It means to cause to learn. To teach means to also what? Cause to learn and to impart knowledge. If somebody, you want to be my scribe today, please just help me be typing it in the chat box. I will be glad so that we can engage ourselves. Discipline means to do what? To cause to learn, to impart knowledge. Any tool at all you are going to engage, you must impart knowledge to your child. Again, you want to say discipline is to teach. which means you show and explain how to do something right. So how does holding a cane show to a child how it is that that child should do something right? Remember, you are beating the child because the child failed to do something the right way. So you feel, let me beat the child so that the child can have common sense, like we say in Africa. But how does that cane eh, teach the child or show the child and explain to the child how that thing is correctly done? So think of it. That means there are other ways that what would have taught that child and showed to the child how the child would have learned. Thank you, Taiwo Oseni. Yeah, discipline means to cause to learn, to impart knowledge. Now, discipline also focuses on teaching the desirable result. It must focus on what? Teaching the desirable results. If cane or any tool at all you are using, and I'm just using cane as an example, yelling could be another one. I used to yell. Oh my, I'm not sure you can yell as much as I do. I'm good enough, I have very audible voice. Once I yell for you, you know, host of heavens are coming down. And so, and I will yell, and before I knew it, it became a learned behavior. My first daughter started yelling. I felt like, oh, what's this? And once you say something to her, and then she also shouts at you, you feel like, are you not rude? Why would you be shouting at your mommy? Why will you be doing this one? Why will you be doing that? But she learns it. You have allowed her to learn it. And that's how it goes. Whatever it is that you do not want the child to do, please do not do. When we have made parenting to be infallible, as parents, we feel we are infallible. We don't make mistakes. Only children do. We make mistakes as parents. So if not so, how would we have thought that beating a child is the way to go in disciplining a child? So I'm leaving you with just these four things about discipline. Discipline is from the Latin word which means disciplinus. Disciplinus. You may want to type it there, or it also means discipliner. Anyhow you want to spell it, it's not an issue. And this means knowledge. Discipline means what? Knowledge, learning, or instruction. And discipline means to teach, to cause to learn, to impart knowledge. Discipline means to teach, meaning to show somebody or explain to somebody how to do something. And lastly, discipline focuses on teaching the desirable result. Teaching the desirable result. You have a desirable result in your heart on how your child should do this or to do that. But how would that thing be done? First of all, is to teach the child how the child should do it. Many times I've not even taken time to calm down and explain the process of how it things to be done to the child. We just feel this child should know. I thought my parents, yes, they should know that this brother is from our church now. They should understand. Unfortunately, I was beaten for assuming. So the greatest mistake you want to make in any relationship, whether parent-child relationship or husband-wife relationship, is to what? Assume that they know this one. That's why it is also said that assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. You don't assume nothing. You don't assume nothing. Thank you, Taiwo Sheni. Yes, discipline focuses on teaching the desirable result. Every point in time, make up your mind to say, what do I expect from this? And once you know what you expect, teach the child. First of all, teach the child. And there are key things to note in discipline. The first one is what? The first one is to construct the structure of discipline. In you constructing the structure of discipline, you want to type this down. 3 things to note when it comes to effective discipline. 1, construction. Construct the system of what? Of effective discipline for your home, for your child. When my child does A, this is what will be the and when the number 2 is connect. A child you fail to connect with, you cannot correct. If you fail to connect with your child emotionally, even physically, it is very hard for you to correct that child. That child will be unruly. That child will rebel. That child will revoke. That child will retreat you. So what do you want to do? The last one is to then correct. Once you have made up your mind, once you have done what we call putting down the structure of discipline in your home and for your family, what then happens is that you are able to connect with your child based on that by teaching the child that standard you have set. To say, oh, in this family, this is what we do. Anytime you do this, this is the consequence that will follow. And afterwards, what happens? You connect with your child, making sure that the child understands what you have even said. Because it is one thing for you to have taught the child, it's another thing for the child to really understand what you have taught the child. So connect with the child physically and even emotionally, psychologically. Let the child be a child and you remain the adult. And then correct the child when the child goes wrong. So you must be able to connect with your child so you can correct your child effectively. Unfortunately, most of our parents have failed to do what? To connect with us heart to heart. And yet they want to correct us. Have you seen the student and it seems like this your physics teacher, you don't like him because every time he's always beating, every time he's always seeing one person that is doing wrong and he's beating. So everything he's teaching in class, you are not connecting with it. So he will just finish his period and then leaves. At the end of the day, they ask you what is physics. You can't even recall because in your head, all that was ringing is this wicked uncle, this wicked uncle, this wicked uncle. So I could teach, but then that period I had to and the very first time I started teaching, I entered into the class and say, "Hello, my name is Faisha. One thing. I'll be teaching you so. And these are my rules and regulations. If you do this, everybody you stand up and I will punish you. If you do that, I will do this, I will do that." So I gave them my rules and regulations, thinking they should just follow suit. But how do I do? Everybody stand up, then they stand up, and then I begin to beat all of them. Imagine a public school, so you know there will be so many. I'll beat all of them. I continue like that for the whole time, and it seems as though every time they see me, then auntie, that auntie is coming. You know that kind of. They will see you, they will even be able to greet you because in their mind they don't even like you because you're always beating them and all of those things. So when I teach, as much as I impart knowledge so well, it's not even 100. So one day the Holy Spirit was telling me, you can't continue like this. You cannot continue like this. You can't make impact like this. And I felt but what they should understand that they have to. So I will go there and tell them to school in a public school how they should be well behaved, how they should not allow public school system to enter into their brain and be doing all of that. I was myself. Spirit really. I sat there, I felt like, okay, let me take knowledge from what the Holy Spirit is telling me. So I changed the style. I stopped beating them and I started connecting with them one on one. So even when they do wrong, sometimes I just overlook, I do like I didn't see it. What should have even taken me, or the little error that they've done that should have caught my attention, would have made me to punish the whole class, I would just do like I didn't even see it. Eventually, they became so close to me that even during break period, they'll come and share their experiences with me, what they are passing through, how it is that there's an issue at home. I'll pray with them, lead them to Christ. And in fact, the impact was huge. By the time I was leaving the school, my gift was full inside a bus that I carried back to the Corpus Lodge. What is the lesson there? Cain is ineffective. That's the truth. It is like a quick fix. Like just keep your mouth shut. Let me do something. P. You beat everybody crying, and that's the end. But that negative art will still continue, and in fact, they will become more unruly. I mean, back then in secondary school, I had those of my friends that were very unruly. Me, I always be a gentle lady. I don't want to wahala of anybody. So I don't want anybody to beat me. I just go to school, learn, and come back. That was who I am, and that's still who I am. And so I had these friends that were so unruly, and they know that this uncle or this auntie will always beat. After all, he would do 6 strokes of the cane or 12 strokes of the cane. So they will package and wear like three or four short knickers under their uniform, and even sometimes wear small textbooks in their buttocks. And usually they know that this uncle will beat in the buttocks. So when it's time for the uncle to beat, you just beat and the beats will just be bouncing back, bouncing back. So they won't feel impacted with the cane. They will, after the whole exercise, you just feel like this uncle just wasted his time. Can you imagine? This uncle just wasted his time. But that unruly behavior continued. It never stopped. You see it. So over time and over time, if we truly want to be sincere with ourselves, we would have seen that really it's just a quick fix. It does not even address the issue. The child can cry for the moment, but that negative trait, you'll be sure that it will still repeat itself. Now, so let's look at some ineffective negative disciplines that we have imbibed over the years. We have learned it too. It has passed over to us from our parents. Number one, I've been talking about beating, right? Very important. You want to know that that is not an effective discipline measure, and that's why it is negative. Another one is punishment. Punishment is needed sometimes, but you have to give the punishment based on the age category. Imagine you saying a child of 3 years old who have just done something but should go and kneel down for 3 hours because he's 3 years old. And by the time the child finish kneeling down and raising up his hands, the whole hands cannot go down again. That's wickedness. What has the child learned from that experience? Nothing. Thank you. Yes, beating is one ineffective one. Number two here, I've talked about punishment. Number three, ineffective discipline is shaming your child. You know how it is that in in kindergarten or prep, a child will wee on the body and auntie will sing for the child and say, wee for body, how are you? Shame. Wee for body, how are you? Shame. And the whole class will sing for that child. My child came back some few days and started singing, Ole Ajibole, Ole Ajibole. I felt like, who taught you this one? Where did you bring this one from? The elder ones now told me that a child stole something in the class, and then the auntie said all of them should sing. I say, oh father, otherwise this child would not have even known what this is. So I had to caution and say that song is not good. You don't sing it, but it's not good to steal either. You don't steal because of this, because of that. You see it now. Now, shaming a child, you as a parent might successfully shame that child, but the emotion of that child is battered. So the child will no longer be self-confident. The child will no longer be bold to face destiny or to face life. Any little thing, the child will always see inadequacy in him or in her. This is why it is not very good at all that you do what? Ensure that you shame your child. You must learn to parent the art of the child, and not just the art, not just on the surface. Don't just treat the issue on the surface. If you successfully say you have stolen, are beautiful stealing, and after all, the child will still steal. But what system will you put in place that will make that child to understand what they're trying to inculcate and not to repeat stealing? You understand? People most times, especially parents, says, these children, they are very naughty. If you don't beat them, if you don't even do this one for them, they will not learn. Some even say that these children, I don't even understand it. When you are ashamed, I'll come to the assembly ground, come and tell the old students that we at home. Parents, you know good though. You hear me? So you know good. That's shaming. Rather, call the child, tell the child how the child can address peeing on the bed when they sleep. Put system to say, when you eat on or later 7 p.m. on or before 7 p.m. and ensure you do not take too much water. All of the water you want to take in the day period. Understand why children even pee or wee at home, as the case may be. Sometimes it's a medical issue. Sometimes it is hereditary. Maybe you too wee like that. It took you time before you stopped weeing. You understand? So it could be hereditary. Now your child is weeing, you want to kill that child. For goodness sake, please take it easy. So let the child begin to understand that, girl, you have responsibility to take. Mommy will not take out of this shame, and I will not come to school to shame you, but do this, do that, because of this, because of that. You will see that that sense will come into the child's brain, and the child can learn and do better. The next one, I don't know what number we have, is yelling. Yeah. You shout. And in the next neighborhood, they are hearing that, somebody is training a child. Because you are born one child like this, anybody will not hear what they get. The whole neighborhood will be hearing your shout. Oh, your fashion me, this time I want to destroy me. Because of what? Why? Because of what? And because of why are you even doing that? I don't understand. Yelling is a disease. You heard me say so. It is a disease. I told you how it is. I used to, yeah, but I've repented. Yes, I've repented. I had to do an overhauling of myself, a relearning and unlearning the thing I used to believe about yelling, and went through the system of unlearning it. You can also be skillful in that sense. Learn not to yell. It shuts down the brain of the child. The child will not be able to think, shock, and jerk because of you have shouted on the child. And the child's when I read about yelling and what it does to children, I felt sorry that why will I be the one to cause this damage to the child because I'm just the parent. You see it? And parents do this because they really do not know. You cannot parent in this age and time without sufficient knowledge and skill. So what should you do? Seek for knowledge at all costs. Seek for knowledge. And okay, so we'll get there. You have to enroll for parenting training. Yes, very important. I had to do, and I still do. You have to do it. You have to reparent yourself. Some of us are passing through some traumatic experiences, and we are passing it on to our children. The truth is, if you do not heal from traumas that exist in your life, you will also still pass it on to your children and generations after you. So it becomes that family, that's how they shout. Oh, all of us in our family, we shout like that. That's how we used to shout. They know us by our shouting. By our shouts, they shall know us. No, no be so. No be so. No be so. By your fruits. Let it be a good fruit that we're knowing you by, not by your shouting. The next one is forced disobedience. Have you seen that child that is always obedient to whatever you tell the child? Make sure you don't leave this house and make sure you don't do this. So if you do this, I will do this. So because of the fear of what you're going to do, the child is forced to obey. Is forced to do what? To just comply. That child will just what? Will forced to comply. Forced obedience. I meant to say forced obedience. So the child, it does not have any choice than to what? To just comply. Because if mommy come now, she will just kill me. So let me just stay on my lane. Do you know that even our heavenly Father does not force us to do what? To obey him. He gave us choice, life, death. He said, choose. Let's learn from our Father in heaven. Give your children choice. Let them know they have freedom to make choice. But teach them that for every choice you make comes with a consequence or a reward. And when the reward comes or the consequence comes, that's how Adam and Eve also learned from the choice they made. God allowed them to pass through the consequence. It's like that. Sometimes some learning that you try to pass to your children will not get to them until something stare at them in the face and you allow them pass through the consequence. That's why you must have rules and consequences when it comes to discipline in your home. We're getting there. Are you enjoying it? Let me know if you're enjoying it. Let me know if you're enjoying it. You can drop here, just drop a love emoji showing that yes, I love this, I'm getting value and all of that. Thank you. Forced obedience. And the next one is what? Verbal abuse. I know some people from the southwest, when they wake up in the morning, if you are from that place, I don't know, but if you know these people, you know. If you know, you know. When they wake up is curse, they answer you with curse. Aburi ebajin, abi wanting, the parents issuing curse on the life of the child. How is it that the child will prosper? Please tell me. Just like the case of Jabez. How would the child prosper? Because the child will feel like my parents have already labeled me to say, I can't prosper. My parents have already labeled me to say, this is how it is that I'm going to end up my life. Some people look at their children and say, we call it that friend. You can't be well with you. And you feel like, wow. Parents saying to the child, how will the parent feel If an outsider said that to the child, of course, they've given the opportunity for people to even do worse. So, verbal abuse. And do you know that verbal abuse is a big abuse that should not exist between anybody, whether in parent-child relationship or thank you, you are getting value, and thank you for also coming up on board. You know, any abuse at all. Today, many people are in relationship, whether marriage or even father, mother, kind of any kind of relationship, and they are being abused, and people are telling them to leave to leave. So if you abuse your child should leave your home. Yes. That human being means that no human being is worth to be abused. We have to treat all men with honor. Fear God, honor all men, honor your children inclusive. It is the honor you throw to your child that your child returns back to you. It is not because it is normal for them to honor you. No, you have to show them that honor, then they would honor you. You will make you. All right. And another one here is permissivity. You have parents that are permissible. These parents, anything goes. You do good thing, you no do good thing, it doesn't concern them. Until heaven is falling down before they now you. You see that kind of parent that is calm and cool. They are very inactive. They are just there. No discipline, nothing. That child will rot in. Oh. That child will rot in. Oh. If you are like that as a parent, you want to go and work on yourself and be more skillful to raise a wholesome child. To learn from God. God is both the lion and the lamb. Have you seen lion before? Who sees lion and stays? Nobody. Yet again, he also has the lamb. You can carry a lamb, you can play with a lamb, but you cannot play with a lion. So you must have both faces. You must be a lion when you need to be one. You need to be a lamb if you have to be. That at the end of the day, the child is well raised and oral. Very important. I need to run. Another one here is what? Assumption. I told you of assumption the other time. To assume that your child knows, and because of that, you are now instilling discipline on your child. It is wrong. It's an ineffective discipline measure. Do not assume that your child knows or that your child have learned. How do you know a child has learned? You will know a child has learned when you see the child acting better, acting in the right manner. Another one is reward system. When you do the right thing, I'm going to give you this one. It's good though. But if that's the only reason why your child will do the right thing, then your child have not learned. So when you withdraw the reward you want to give to that child, then that child will begin wayward. And this is where we see even parents, some adults, including you, maybe you watching me, you are working in a place, and if they have not told you, organization have not told you that they are going to give you a reward or motivate you with this or that, you won't do your work as you should. You say, I've done my work. Oh. The one that my salary is able to take, I have done it. Any extra thing they want me to do, they should add to my money. That's because you were raised badly. Everything was given to you only because you have done something where they give you reward. You did this one, they give you reward. The day you did something where and they did not give you reward, you see those people as what? Wicked. Meanwhile, every day is not Christmas. So the child needs to be raised well, wholesomely, to live right, not just because there's a dividend coming. The next one here is what? And which will be the last one? Shaming your child. I've spoken about shaming your child. It should not come from you as a parent. Neither should you allow it in school. But don't go to your child's school and go and cry and be shouting at them and be fighting. Why would you shame my child? Now only her bad. Now only in school. And so that's why I don't miss PTA. That's why I don't miss PTA meeting. When they call for PTA meeting, I am there. When they are saying some things, I look for how to also instill the value I carry so that I can be the light. The scripture says, as long as I'm in the world, I'm the light of my word. Not light of the church, but light of my word. So as I go there, I begin to pass the light to everywhere. around me. If you have known what it means for a discipline that the discipline you are applying to be ineffective, then you want to be curious. Discipline to be effective, it must have these 5 components. What did I say? For your discipline to be effective, it must have these 5 components. And number 1 is learn to connect healthily with your child. Remember that I said that a child you fail to connect with, you cannot correct. A child you fail to connect with, you cannot correct. Don't forget the story I shared with you about myself and my students when I was teaching as a core member. You don't connect with somebody you cannot correct the person. Even around you, there's somebody in your workplace always thinking, how can I correct this person that's always doing bad? First of all, connect with the person. Be a friend to that person. Just befriend the person. Make friends. When you become friends, you can now be able to instill value. Say, this thing where you did do. You get as it be. Make sense. You go fit drop out. Stylishly, you'll be able to have passed the message. But you are not friends with the person. But you want to be pointing a kissing finger. That person will not hear you. He won't hear you. Are you getting it? All right. So now, your discipline, you must connect healthily with your child. I make it a point of duty to connect with my child every day. My children, rather, every day. It was tug of war when I started. Man, come back from work tired. Want to do house chores, want to cook, want to do this, sometimes running from fellowship down to home, and a lot of things preparing again to go to work the next day. I'm like, I don't think this can work. But man, it has worked. It is working. And I see the results. My children also want to tell me things that happened in the school, things that happened before I came back home, and they just want to gist with me. And as a parent that is well skillful, I want to listen. And as I'm listening, let them just talk. As you talk, I can pick some things, but touchlight some things, and all of those things. Many parents are not listening at all. They want to talk. As the child say A, they say the B to Z. How will the child learn? How will the child feel human? How will the child feel learned? Feel heard? Of the values you get when you enroll in parent accountability support system in our academy, Careers Parenting Academy. One of the things you'll be taught and you have to do on daily basis is to create a system for you to connect with your child every day. It doesn't have to be too long. Many times parents are just around, but they are not available. They are around their children, but they are not available to supply the needed things that the children need. And at the end of the day, what happens is that the child is feeling like, my father is absent, my mother is absent, I don't even understand if I have parents. But you should know, I love you. I provide this for you, pay your school fees, do this one, do that one, and all of those things. So that when the time comes you are correcting, the child knows you are correcting from the place of love. When God even scold his children, he scold us from the place of love. He disciplines. But your child have not even been able to ascertain that you truly love them or love her or him wholeheartedly. You begin to do this because you have done this. I will do this for you. I will do that for you. And you begin to instructed as a system. Tomorrow, when the child does the same thing, you do like you did not even see the child. So the child is with with whatever you have laid down as a standard. And let me tell you, whatever standard you have laid down, children will push you. They want to push the boundary. It is you that must say that no, this is the boundary we have set, and you do not pass this boundary. This is what they will continuously and consistently want to push the boundary, because they want to be sure that whether you mean what you truly have said. Have you noticed that most of our children are well behaved in school than at home? Why is it so? Because in school they know there's a standard. If you make noise, auntie will do this, auntie will do that, and all of that. But at home, if they do otherwise, you're just looking at them. Today you correct them, tomorrow you do as if it doesn't concern you. When they get into school, the teacher should do the info. And my dear, teachers cannot do this work alone. That's story for another day. I mean, the day I became intentional with raising my children and also doing some things with them at home, the school proprietors called me and told me that, wow, these children are improving. This is happening. That is happening. I was even happy that, so what all of the labor I'm putting in is showing. Oh, I was encouraged to do more. And that's exactly what it is. At the instant, it might look like nothing is working, but keep at it. Keep at it. It will just make the whole lot of difference. Number 3, fair consequence. Fear consequence. Don't give a consequence that is bigger than the child's age. Don't. Mm-mm. Don't give a consequence that is bigger there needs to be a balance. It has to be fair. For instance, the child that poured water on the floor, and you have taught the child how it is that when you pour water on the floor, must take you must take the rag and mop it. Because I've told you that if you do this, you do this, and because you did not do it, I'm going to make sure that you don't eat in the next 3 days. Why? 3 days, water on the floor. They are not equivalent. Just something small to be able to address that issue, and how it is that the child needs to know the impact for leaving water on the floor. Somebody can sleep on. When the child knows that, then the child can also, it will take time. It won't happen in a day, I must tell you. But that's why you have to be consistent. Number 3, what number are we? Okay, so I've talked about you connecting with your child. It's number 3. So fair consequence is number 2, and then number 3 is what? It must be consistent. I've spoken about consistent. Ascribe, you omitted number 2. It must be consistent. And then number 4, build discipline structure that makes authority last. Number 2, I said number 2, you must make your discipline consistent. It has to be consistent. You don't start today and stop tomorrow, because your child wants to push your boundary that you have set. The standard that you have set, your child will want to do what? Want to push it away or push it further, and just want to be sure whether you truly mean what you said. So that's number 3. That's number 2 that you didn't hear. So number 4 now is that you must build discipline structure that makes authority last. Authority is not, don't you know that I'm your father? Can you do that to your mommy in school? Can you do that to your auntie in school? Can you do that to the blah, blah, blah? Authority is not that. You need to begin to teach the children discipline structure that makes them respect authority, makes them trust authority, and see discipline. They should see authority as respect and trust. They should see authority as anyone in authority. They should be able to respect that person. They should also be able to trust that person. Once that is not happening, what will happen is that you would replace authority with force and control. And that's what some of our people, our teachers, and even some parents do. They just force their children to do some things. They force their children to obey them. They force their children to just do some things, and it's not working. That's why it's not lasting. So the next one, which is number 5, is immediate consequence. When a child does something now, Don't say, when your daddy come, I'll make sure that he deals with you. What happened to you now? Why can you not discipline the child now? Are you a less human being? You must ensure that the discipline is given immediately. That's why you needed to have drafted out how you want your discipline to be deployed in the home. And the last one here is teach discipline that instills self-discipline and self-leadership. Today we are looking for one great leader to lead the nation Nigeria. We have not gotten one. The one we have today is inflicting pain on people. Why? Because parenting is the root cause of how people have turned, right? And you see how it is that we do not have people that can lead themselves. Talk more of leading a whole nation. So if you want to be a leader of tomorrow, you must first of all be able to lead yourself. You have set plans that this is what I want to do today, 1 to 10, and you lead yourself to achieving those 10 things. It starts from there. If you are not disciplined by yourself, you can't discipline others. So you must begin to teach discipline to your children as what will put in self-discipline and self-leadership to them. If that does not happen, your discipline, no matter the tool you deploy or the system you deploy or the modality you deploy, that discipline will be ineffective. So what should you do? Teach discipline that instills self-discipline and self-leadership. That's the last one. Now, I'd like to tell you about parenting accountability support system. This is what we do in the academy at Caris Parenting Academy. And I have a gift for Taiwo Seni. You've been typing for me since. I'm so glad. Thank you very much for what you do. And here is the gift. Today is my birthday, and I'd like you to listen very well. At Parenting Accountability Support System, it is an accountability system that helps you to parent your child wholesomely. And we do this 365 days every year, meaning that every day I'll be on your face. And it is a fully online program. You don't have to see me facially, except you want to come. I'll be glad to see you too, right? So it is fully online. We have daily tools that have been well curated to help your child grow well, regardless of their age categories. In fact, if you are a single person, it is also very good enough for you to learn these skills ahead before you become married, and because maybe in the next 9 months you'll be a parent, potential parent, right? So the best time to learn parent is before you even get married. So if you are single, good for you. If you're a caregiver, it's good for you. If you're a parent, it's good for you. You're a grandmother, it's good for you. You're a children's school. This program is good for you. If you're a school owner, a teacher, good for you. And we'll be able to take you by the hand every day, making sure that you are able to do the daily connection too. Year round, we are going to give you what we call, every month you have what we call a book to read. I hear you. You don't read. Don't worry. There's grace for you to read. I have testimonies of many people I've raised who never have read one book in their life. Today, they have built their library, and in no time, it didn't take them a long time, right? Because they were interested in their growth. Do you know why you must read? And I spoke about self-leadership and self-discipline. If you are not disciplined as a parent and you are not leading yourself as a parent, you will raise a less leader. Your child will not also be able to be disciplined in order to be a good leader. You have to read. You have heard the saying that leaders are readers, readers are learners, and they are readers. The more you read, the more you grow, the more you are exposed, the more you'll be able to know what to do in this area and that area. There's little I can sit down and begin to teach you one-on-one like this. But when you read, it will also buttress whatever I'm teaching you, and you'll be able to know that, so this thing is really true. It's a universal truth. Yes, anywhere in the world, it works. And wherever you are, it's not just for Nigerians. You may be in Australia, you may be in North America, wherever you are in Africa, wherever it is for you. So long you have internet access and you have online presence, you can do this. So we'll also give you what we call our parenting journal, which is, it helps you to be able to journal your experience on a daily basis for 365 days. And then we'll give you our professional support. Year round, you have access to me. Access to me in 1 hour is like 50,000. Yes, 1 hour of my time, one-on-one, is like 50,000. So you have access to me to be able to say, oh, you said this, I don't understand. How can I do this? How can I do that? So your time is precious. My time is precious. You don't waste my time. I don't waste your time. And you are there, you know that if you look back, you're going to get value for your life. And if you have even gotten value today, I'm sure that you have an idea of what to get in that platform. And every month we do what? A monthly parenting webinar. We do monthly parenting webinar and some other benefits. So a book you'll be getting in the month free. Some of those books, one is sold for 15,000, some lesser, some up to 20,000. One in a month. So multiply on the average 15,000 times 12. There's an amount that is the free webinars that we've had in the previous time. You can get them all for free. And the professional support you want to have with me, that's another expenses. The journal you'll be getting for free, and some other maybe guides and some other guides that will help you'll be getting them for free. All of these, the total worth is supposed to be 200,000 for the year round. And so if you have to divide 200,000 by 365 days, right? It means that one day you'll be paying 447 naira. That's like 450 naira per day. But you won't be paying that. So what will you be paying? Because today is my birthday, you will pay 45,000 for throughout the year. 45,000 throughout the year is what you'll be paying. And this offer only lasts for 24 hours. This offer lasts for what? 24 hours. And so Taiwo Osheni, if you want to pick up this offer, you get to pay 45,000 because of the work you have done for us today. Yes. Are you glad at it? Yes, we'll be glad to have you. So you'll be paying 45,000 naira throughout the year, meaning that in one day you are paying like 123 naira. It's not even sufficient to buy a bottle of drink. But I tell you, the value you get is much more. Can you share this link with your friends, share on your status, share with your social media, your contacts, just share with people, let them get value from this, and they will be glad to see you in the yard. As I conclude today, it is to my desire that your parenting becomes effective. And how your parenting will become effective is when you, first of all, reparent yourself, and when you do what? When you become intentional, become skillful, and you also do what? You ensure that you have the right knowledge. I have dropped the academics number in case you want to reach out to me for further inquiries. Taiwo Oseni, you may pick that up, and then I'll have you pick up the offer. And for anyone as well who wants to pick up the offer, it is just the same. Under 24 hours today, 24 hours, you'll be paying 45,000 naira. And you can book your slots with just 5,000 to secure your slots. But the session is starting December 1st, fully. So registration is already ongoing. The new session for the year 2025 is starting in December 1st. So you have between now and then to register. I will see you in the academy. Taiwo was saying, I'm so glad to meet you. I wish I can hug you. Receive my hug. Thank you. I'm so glad to have you. Thank you for coming up on board. Ensure you subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell so that whenever we come up on board, you can be duly informed. I'll be glad you can share this link with your friends so they can be blessed. Wish me happy birthday again, and thank you for coming. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.